Om. Om. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam. We are in verse number 9 in the second part, second valli of Katha Upanishad. Last week we saw, what did we see? The 8th verse. Ya esha supteshu jagarti kamam kamam purusho nirmimanaha tadeva shukram tadbrahma tadeva amrutam muchyate tasmin lokashrita sarve tadunatyeti kaschana etadvaitata. This refrain, etadvaitata, again and again the Lord of Death, Yamraj, is telling the student, because he is the teacher, student is Nachiketa. This is that, because his inquiry is, what is that which is other than dharma, dharma, karma, akarma? What is that which is other than righteousness and unrighteousness? What is that which is other than action and no action? That is being explained. It is something to be which is being explained but which cannot be understood. That is the problem. And the only way is to communicate through words. So different ways are employed, examples are taken, references are made, logic is given to present, to indicate that which cannot be talked about. See? So here he says, the Purusha, we already explained this, I'm just recapping in short. The Purusha who remains awake, shaping all sorts of objects of desires into dreams, even while we are asleep. Verily, that is the pure, the Brahman, and that is also called the immortal. Tadeva Shukram Tad Brahma. It is that pure, it is that which is Brahma. Tadeva Mrudamuchyate. So the wise call it that it is of the nature of it, that Brahma is called as immortal. And Tasmin Loka Shrita Sarve Tadunatyeti Kaschana. And in that is the total world. And what is our total world? Last week we told you it is the waking plus dream plus deep sleep. That is our total creation. That is our total world. And everything is in that self, and everything, it is immanent in and through every aspect of that world. But because it is immanent through every aspect of every object or thought or desire or gross or subtle object, it is present in and through everything. But that does not mean that every object in the world is capable of coming to know that immortal self. The effect can never come to know the cause. This is the topic we were seeing last week. The cause is self-existing, and this is the eternal cause. This is the eternal principle. And in this way, the where were we? And it is the indestructible principle, and in it the entire universe. And again, when I say the world, don't think that your world or your universe is only the waking world. It is also the dream world, because in dream also there is the sun, moon, planets, people, relationships, house, brother, sister, parents, everything is there, just as in this world. So we are taking world as a principle. What is the world? Which keeps changing. What is the world? Where things come into existence, stay for some time and then go away. What is the world? Which is objective in its nature. How do you know the world? Only by way of thoughts. Where do you know the thoughts? In your mind. How does the mind function? Because of consciousness. If there is no consciousness, mind will not function. So that one who is unaffected, that mind. Now don't think, yes, there is one mind, but your experiences in the dream, in the waking, there is one mind. In the dream, there is another mind. In the deep sleep, there is no mind. This is how you talk. So nothing in this mind has the capacity to come to know that immortal self, the immortal Atman. But everything is supported by that Atman. Everything exists in that Atman. And we gave the example last week of the waves. All the waves are supported by the water. They appear, stay, and merge back into the water. They exist in the water. But the wave has to forget its waveness in order to come to be the water. Not come to know the water, come to be the water. It has to give up its body identification. So also, many great masters are there. It can happen to you also. You give up the body identification. Every night in sleep, you are giving up body identification. But unfortunately, under the spell of ignorance, we choose to remain ignorant of the union with the self that is taking place in deep sleep. Remain conscious before you go to sleep every night. Find ways to be awake. Don't worry about the consequences, what will happen tomorrow. Oh, if I don't sleep, how will I do work? Swamiji, be real. This is real, not that is real. Job is not real. Income is not real. Tomorrow's tiredness is not real. You will not be tired. After 2-3 days, if you remain awake, you will be mad. There will be no one to say that I am tired. So, in the same vein, the Upanishad continues. In the 9th verse we are looking at. So here we saw, yesterday we saw, we'll just read this again. Aneka tarkika kubuddhi vichalita antakarananam pramanopapannam apyatmaikatva vijnanam asakruda uchyamanam apyan nrujubuddhinam brahmananam चेतसी नाधीयत इति तत् प्रतिपादन आदरवती पुनः पुनराह श्रुतिः. Many people who are searching for this or talking about this reality, this immortal self, by way of logic, by way of arguments, majority people are critics. Those who are not subjective in their approach. When is that approach? Not tomorrow, not yesterday, right now, while listening. If we are subjective, while talking, if I am subjective, while listening, you are subjective, So what will mean subjective here? While just one moment, I need something. What will it mean to be subjective while I'm talking? That while speaking, I'm aware of the conscious principle in whose presence or in whose light the speech is taking place. In your case, you are conscious of that principle, that self, that presence, that light, that untouched principle, that unaffected principle in whose presence hearing is taking place. Too many words, okay. Ask a question. What is that because of which hearing is taking place? What is that power? You cannot come to know objectively. But you know there is some power, there is something called life, there is some principle behind. You may, if you are thinking of the ear, you may go back to the mind. Then the next question will be because of whom the mind is functioning, because of whom are the thoughts coming and going, who is illuminating these thoughts? Is it someone from outside? Just like this light is coming from outside and illuminating these words on the text. So is there someone outside whose this light is coming into the mind? No, there must be some light inside. Just appreciate it. Be attentive of that. That's all. Don't try to search for it as something which is separate from you. If you search for it as separate from you, then it will become objective approach. If without disturbing what is going on, and you come into that poise where you are watching everything going, and there you are. So here he says that those Tarkika, those who are very intelligent, those who are thinking that they are the critics, and because of that critical thinking, logical thinking, too much intellectualization, because of that their intellect, they have become very fickle minded. For everything there is some argument they present, and therefore such people are not simple, such people are not straightforward. They complicate every damn thing. Arjun was straightforward. हिंदी में बोलते हैं बाल की खाल निकालना. So तार्किक over intellectualization is like बाल की खाल निकालना. That means you are skinning the hair. In English it doesn't sound right, but what can I do? For those who don't understand the Hindi, skin the hair, single hair. And these are intelligent people, these are brahmanas, these are meditators, these are well versed in scriptures, these are highly esteemed people. They may have siddhis, they may have powers, they may be sitting in meditation for hours together, maybe days together, but that is not a prerequisite, or that is not a sign of realization. That is not a sign of realization. Having power, sitting in meditation, doing the japa, being able to talk about the scriptures in n number of ways and influence the other people, but ourselves, zero. Why? We have not established in ourselves. We are only talking about it. Such people, such Brahmanas, they only talk about it and are intellectualizing it. But what happens? See, this is the question that Arjun asked after the 12th chapter, 11th chapter, where he had the Vishwarup Darshan. After that, Bhagwan told him in the 12th chapter and the 13th chapter, end of 12th chapter and beginning of 13th chapter, Arjuna asked that how I can't see the Vishwarup Darshan all the time. What do I have to do? So Bhagwan gave him various, so many, 30, 31 qualities that he can inculcate within himself. Then he told him the 13th chapter was about Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the field and the knower of the field. Field is that which is changing, knower of the field is the unchanging principle. Apply it on yourself. After he understands this, yes, I understand that I am the unchanging principle, but I have a problem. And the problem is my mind is not staying, I am not remaining still in the Kshetrajna, as the Kshetrajna. As the knower of the field, I am, as the witness, I am not remaining still. I am not remaining in the poise. Every now and then I find myself there, but not because I have done anything, but because I am attentive of it, because I know that is the right contemplation, and somehow for some reason I find myself to be that, but within few moments again the mind hijacks and I find myself again in the mind and at the mercy of the thoughts and emotions and concepts and convictions and ideas and imaginations. And then the 14th chapter came, Daivi Sampatti and Asuri Sampatti, that we have good thoughts and bad thoughts. We need to go beyond them. And this is what is being told here, that knowing the scriptures, now you're not talking about liquid spirituality, now you're not talking about worldly things, now you're not talking about movies, now you're not talking about whatever about the world. Now you're talking only about scriptures. That also is a vasana. And it becomes an intellectual itch. जब खुजली आती है तो खुजली करते जाते हो. You keep scratching yourself when you have a itch. That itch gives, when you scratch the itch, you feel so much relief. And in that scratching, you scratch so much that the blood starts coming out and you're still enjoying. This is intellectual itch. Those who are very intelligent people, those who are intellectual oriented, those who are, they want to think out everything, they want to question everything. That's not the question. No doubt we must question. We are questioning. Upanishad, Nachiketa question. That's why he's getting the answer. But be available to the answer also. Or only keep questioning and questioning and questioning. So such people who have this intellectual itch, they, even if they are told again and again and again that you are the truth, they are not able to stay still in that poise, in that witnessing. Even they come to satsangs, they go to satsangs, they listen to satsangs in so many different places, They will read Raman Maharishi's book, the talks by Ramana, or I am that, and read the Upanishad, listen to Upanishads, listen to various masters. But sthirta nahi aa rahi hai. Stability is not coming. Still reacting to every damn thing that comes in this world. Still not oriented towards the self. Still not, the self has not caught them from inside. See, what is catching, how the self catches you from inside? Just like sleep catches you from inside every night. Just like hunger catches you from inside when it expresses itself. You did not create the hunger. You did not create the sleep. But once it catches, whether you are in a car, whether you are in class, you will go to sleep. Because the sleep, it's caught you from inside. Imagine something like that, how it is just taking over your mind. Imagine the self overpowering the mind, meaning illuminating the mind with its divine light. Or another way of putting it is the mind continuously hooked into contemplating on the self in spite of the thoughts. When you think thoughts by yourself, I'm moving a little, giving another example. When you think of thoughts by yourself, there is a subject, object, and instrument of knowledge, isn't it? I am the subject, I. These are the words which are the object, and the instrument is the speech here. Or the mind is the instrument in which the thoughts are coming. When you are thinking, it becomes, how should I say, it is a little bit more challenging to separate yourself from thinking. It is not at all difficult, but we make it a challenge for ourselves. That how do I separate myself from the mind, from the thoughts? But when we are listening, someone is trumpeting away, talking. You are not making any efforts in thinking. So I is not there. It's quite weak. as the ego, as the subject which goes into making the thought subject, object, and instrument of knowledge. So thoughts are appearing not because of your will, not because of your desire, not because of your itch. You have just exposed yourself to the satsang. The words are coming to you, and it becomes an opportunity because you are not actively thinking. Words are coming to you. You take the position of being the witness. You take the position of being the one in whose presence the thoughts are coming in and going away, rather than associate with any thought, rather than give value and importance to any thought that is appearing in the mind. You be the witness, you be the light, which you are already. Just recognize that. It's easier in a satsang. Two things will happen if you do that. Either you will go to sleep or you will realize. See? So here, so in order to bring this point out with respect with as to what this what that Shukra Brahma, that pure Brahman is, that pure Atma is, which is our essential nature. The Shruti is out of her compassion. Shruti means the scripture, the Upanishad. She is the mother. Again, for the benefit of the student, for the benefit of the seeker, is again proclaiming what this truth is. And that comes in the next verse. Next three verses, the examples are given. Agniryathayko bhuvanam pravishto, Agniryathayko bhuvanam pravishto, Rupam pratirupo babhuva, Rupam pratirupo babhuva, Ekastatha sarva bhutantaratma, Ekastatha sarva bhutantaratma, Rupam pratirupo bahischa, Rupam pratirupo bahischa. Together, Agniryathayko bhuvanam pravishto, Rupam pratirupo babhuva, Ekastatha sarva bhutantaratma, Rupam pratirupo bahischa. So here, 35. So here he says that as in this whole creation, in this whole creation, or in this plane of existence, if you want to say, bhuvana, the fire element is all pervasive. Without fire, we won't have any form. Every form is because of fire. Space has got no form. Air has got no form. The first element is the fire, which has a form. It is called Sapta Jivha. It is the 7-tongued fire. When you do the Havan, the 7 tongues must come out, must be seen. So from the space, first the air came, from the space and air, then the fire came, from space, air and fire, water came, from space, air, fire and water, earth came. Then all of them put together, then the plants, animals, then human beings and everything came. But if you don't have these 5 elements, if you don't have the fire element, here we are talking about Agnir. We are talking about the fire element. This fire element is present inside and outside. Where is outside? Everywhere, all over the planet there is heat. You can't see the fire, but it is there. Inside the earth also there is fire. Inside you, where is the fire? You know where is fire inside you? Where are the 2 places where the fire expresses through you?
Jatharagni, Swami.
Jatharagni, the digestive fire. And where else? Speech is the expression of fire. It can burn away if you don't use the proper words. But that's so what we are saying here is that just as the fire has pervaded the world, this plane, and even though it is one, the fire element is one, but it appears as so many different places. There is a gas in your house, there is a gas in my house, there is a gas in her house, in his house. Everywhere you put it, the fire will be there. So has fire become many, or Even though expressing as many, the fire element is one. Think. Similarly, this is one example of the gas, but same way, fire element is the cause behind all the forms. It alone expresses as all the forms. Because there are many forms, it is not that there is many fire. It is one fire which is uh, appearing as different forms. And that is told here. Exactly the same way here it is told. Rupam rupam pratirupam babuva. Similarly, ekastatha sarva bhutantaratma. Similarly, the Atma, the pristine self, the immaculate self, the conscious self, the witnessing self, it is sarva bhuta antara Atma. It is just like the fire. In some places, it is expressing outside. In some places, it is hidden inside. In the wood, it is hidden inside. In a burning fire, it is expressing outside. Here, this whole house, just because we have put plaster boards everywhere, we can't see the wood. But wood is there. One wrong fire anywhere, it gets invoked, it will burn down the whole house. So it is there everywhere. Without fire, we cannot have the visible universe. Understand this. The entire visible universe, the colors and forms and shapes that you see are pervaded by the principle of fire. Exactly the same way. The Atma, the self, also is pervading within you and outside of you. Antaratma, it is your within, and Sarva Bhuta, it is the entire universe outside. The Atma is pervading. Which Atma? Not this or that or yours or hers. You are the Atma. Oh my God, that is a lot of responsibility. So I am in the terrorists also. I am in the Ukrainians also. I am in the Russians also. I am in the Muslim also. I am in the Hindu also. I am in the Christians also. I am in the murderer and killer also. I am in the wise one also. My God, how do I process this? How do I process it? You don't need to process. If you think like this, then big trouble. That's why the verse says, recognize that you are that infinite self, the Atman, which is pervading inside and outside, just as the fire pervades in and through every object in this universe and also the outside universe, outside the world. Outside the objects and inside the object, the fire element is there. Because, so take one example, if that helps. The shape of the wood, any piece of wood, the shape of the wood is because of the fire element outside. But that fire element outside is also present inside the wood, but in unmanifest form, isn't it? Exactly the same way. The Atma is within and Atma is without, just as the fire is. This is the verse. What else is there? So the fire takes the shape of every form and yet is beyond the form. The water takes the shape of every wave but is beyond all the waves. The gold takes a shape of every ornament but is more than that ornament, infinite in its nature. Similarly, the Atma is also inside everything, every object, sentient or insentient, living or not living. If an object is sattvic and is able to reflect the consciousness in its fullness, then there is life. But an object is so gross, is so dense, is so inert, tamasic, that it is not able to reflect the consciousness, is not able to allow the consciousness to express through it, then it is called a stone or a brick. But consciousness is everywhere. Atma is everywhere. अग्निर्यथैक एव प्रकाशात्मा सन्भुवनं भवन्ति अस्मिन् भूतान् इति भुवनमयं लोकस्तमिमं प्रविष्टः अनुप्रविष्टः रूपं प्रतिदारवादी दाह्यभेदं प्रतीत इति अर्थः. It says, I have already explained, but I think the same point is being, we have to do the Shankar Bhashya, that's what we are doing. So just as the fire, it is of the nature of brightness, it is of the nature of light, and in that light, in that fire, all the jivas are there. And what is a plane of existence? A plane of existence is that where the various jivas are existing. So how many planes of existences are there? 14. Each plane has its own qualities, and there are 7 below and 7 higher. So can a plane of existence be only inert with, some sort of life also will be there, objects will be there, some experience will be there. So here it is saying that the various souls or jivas or conditioned consciousnesses are there. That plane of existence where conditioned consciousness exists is called a plane of existence. So we have Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, Tapa, Maha, Janaha, Satyam, or the Janaha, Maha, Satyam. So each plane of existence is subtler and subtler till you reach the Satyam. The consciousness at the earth level is a little bit expanded compared to lower ones. It is much expanded. It is much brighter. And as we go higher, the sattvicness, the purity increases. And as the purity of the jiva, of the conditioned consciousness or the plane of existence is becoming more purer and purer, to that extent, the consciousness expresses also with that scope through those jivas. Is there anything like this? No. Then why is it? Because you think you are an individual, so we have to give you some example. And in these lokas, in these planes of existences, very simply put, just we'll take two planes of existence, waking plane of existence and dream plane of existence. We'll just take 2 planes rather than the 7. We'll collapse all of them into 2. So you have various beings, various individuals in the waking, you have many individuals in the dream also. You have many objects in the waking, you have got many objects in the dream also. You have various seasons, the sun, the moon, the variety of seasons, etc. Houses, walls, trees, bushes, all these are objects. Same thing you have in the dream also. One is gross, the other is subtle. So, this is the gross plane of existence, and dream is a subtle plane of existence. Subtle plane of existence is only existing at the level of your mind. Gross plane of existence is also existing only at the level of your mind. But you think, because of the grossness, because of the tamasic orientation, you think it is existing outside. Phase raho. In English, remain stuck. Who can help? But here we are not talking about stuck or not stuck. Here our attention is that both these planes of existence are having n number of variety of forms and shapes and objects and jivas and beings, plant being, animal being, human being, gods, etc., whatever. See? So here it says that all these forms are appearing because of the fire element, fire principle. As the forms appear, that fire element enters into it and makes the form appear, or appears as that form. Appears as that shape. But because this fire principle or fire element has gone into the various shapes to reveal each shape, does it mean that the fire principle has become any less? Because the space is accommodating the whole universe, because there is so many planets, so many galaxies on this planet, there is so many houses and everything, has the space become less? Because the waves have appeared on the waters, has the water become less? Because the ornament has appeared and the gold is expressing through the ornament, has the gold become any less, or it continues to be gold? Exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. Here it says, प्रतिरूपः तत्र तत्र प्रतिरूपवान् दाह्यभेदेन बहुविधो बभूव एक एव तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा सर्वेषां भूतानाम् अभ्यन्तर आत्मातिसूक्ष्मत्वात् दार्वादिषु इव सर्वदेहं प्रतिप्रविष्टत्वात् प्रतिरूपो बभूव बहिश्च स्वेन अविकृतेन स्वरूपेण akashavat. So he says, just as even though the fire element is supporting all the forms, similarly, where are we? Ek eva tata sarva bhutantaratma. Similarly, all the living beings, or I should say, here he says, uh, where are we? Sarva Bhoot. Bhoot doesn't mean ghost. So what does Sarva Bhoot? Sarva means all, pervasive, everywhere. Bhoot means what? What does Bhoot mean? I'm asking.
In all beings,
Huh?
in all beings.
No. Bhoot, Bhoot. Panchamahabhut, all the five elements.
Oh, five elements.
Right? So here it says that the even though the five elements may be different, maybe the permutation and combination of those five elements which is giving rise to various bodies, that is all bodies, shapes are different, but the life that is expressing through in and through them is the one and the same. Don't mistake, I already answered the question, told this before, that some places the life expresses at its epitome. In saints and sages who are very very sattvic, who are very pure, who are not becoming becoming an obstacle through their thinking for the consciousness to express fully. Such people are also there. You and me are also there. Distracted people. Other people are also there. Animals are there. Or animalistic people are there. Or animals are there. Tamasic people are there. Or the plants and trees are there. So, in saints and sages, the consciousness is blazing forth fully. In us, it is there, but we are searching as a seeker. We know it is there. In other people, majority of the population, they are not worried about it. Where do I make my next dollar from? What is there for food in the meal? Oh, I have to go to sleep tomorrow. It's a very hard day. They only live for, they are afraid of the Monday coming and they are happy for the Friday coming. Mondayitis and Fridayitis. Thank God it is Friday. TGIF. It's a chain in America. Thank God it is Friday. Oh God, it is Monday. OGIM, TGIF. Only living for these 2 days. They are not worried what is this consciousness. Don't confuse me. They don't want. They only want to live. But there are other people also. Only eat or eat. Not worried about conscious, exploring this conscious being that they are. Only happy to be the body. Yeah, this life is there. I don't know where I came from. Maybe, yes, I come from my parents, but why I come, I don't know, and I don't care. I'm going to live my life nicely, eat, drink, make merry, and then one day I'll die. That's it. What's there to know? What karma I have done, what samskara is there, what type of body I got. All that is bakwas, unnecessary thinking. Just live peacefully, man. Enjoy every moment. This is the Charvak philosophy. But Atma is expressing through them also, but they are not available to it. And those people who are only worried about where, what you call, food, shelter and clothing, such people, where is there time for them to contemplate on the Atma? They are only lost in survival. Only lost in survival. And even if they do get exposed by mistake to this these this knowledge, but the intellect is is not available to this knowledge. This was about human beings, but this Atma is present in the animals also. The Atma is expressing through the plant kingdom also. Atma is, the consciousness is expressing through the inert objects also. But they are so gross that it cannot express itself. It cannot show itself. How do we know that in the plants there is life? How do we know there is life in the plants? Because they grow. They can't move. Okay, like stones, they cannot move. But they grow where they are. And enough experiments are done. When you play good music, they sway to the music, they grow faster, etc. etc. Animals also similar. Our cat is there. Every satsang she is sitting in the room. Since she was a baby kitten, from that time till today, every satsang she is sitting on the chair. Why? What is attracting her? Is she understanding anything? Anyway, let's not get into that. Point is, life is expressing through her also. Life is expressing, is immanent in and through every object, through the five elements. Just as fire element was immanent in and through all the shapes and forms, exactly the same way, the Atma, the self, is immanent in and through all the five elements which are gone to make this universe. Come back to the principle, because if you try to work out how many objects Atma is expressing through, you will go crazy. But you know, the universe that you are experiencing is not is made up of space, air, fire, water, earth. These space, air, fire, water, earth are pervaded by the self. Just like the fire was pervading every shape and form, yet it was independent of the shape and form. Similarly, this Atma, this self, is pervading all the elements, all the forms, all the beings, all the inert objects, yet it is independent of everything. It cannot be bound. This is so right, sir, what you are saying is so, but I am experiencing, I am this body, where I have gone wrong? Find out. We are talking about you, who you are originally. We are trying to shift. The Upanishad is shifting our attention to the self that we are, and the nature of the self is its immanence in and through all objects, in and through all the five elements. And what have we accepted ourselves to be? I am only this body. This body is also made up of space, air, fire, water, earth. It is occupying some space. It is breathing. It has got a form, which is because of the fire element. It is 80% water inside, and it is gross, the earth element. And you have taken this form to be the I. Here Upanishad is telling, hey, stop. He's not even saying stop. He's just shifting your attention to the real you that you are. by taking the example of fire. So here it says, सर्वदेहं प्रति प्रविष्ट प्रतिष्ठत्वात् प्रतिरूपो बभूव बहिश्च स्वेन अविकृतेन स्वरूपेण आकाशवत्. And just like it has entered into the body, just like the fire entered into the body, into the form, shape, the fire element did not get caught up in the shape. But we have, because we are conscious, the Atma came and entered into this body and got stuck in the body. It forgot that it is the infinite, it is the all-pervasive one. Why it happened? It happened. No answer. Don't go into that question, it will confuse you. Then what should I think? Now your condition right now is, I think I am the body. Upanishad is telling you are the one in everybody, outside everybody. Accept that. Accept that. So just as space gives accommodation to all forms, but itself remains undisturbed, unaffected, unshackled by all forms in this universe that it accommodates. It is in and through all the forms. Akashavat. Avikrutena swarupena akashavat. Akasha means space. Exactly the same way the Atma, the conscious principle, the self, it supports everything, yet it is independent of everything. It's immanent through everything, yet it is free by nature. Just like space. Kathanyo drishtantaha. Now we give you another example. And the example that is given is that of air. Vayuryathayiko bhuvanam pravishto. Vayuryathayiko bhuvanam pravishto. Rupam rupam pratirupo babhuva. Rupam rupam pratirupo babhuva. Ekastatha sarva bhutantaratma. एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बहिश्च रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बहिश्च. Together, if you have the book. वायुर्यथैको भुवनं प्रविष्टो रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बभूव एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बहिश्च. It says that very similar thought like the previous one, only the element is Vayu, air, where the fire elements gives rise to the forms and shapes. What does air do? Let's see, what does air do, or what is its nature, what is its, how it is to be perceived. So here it says that just as after the air it has pravishto, bhuvanam pravishto, once it has entered the world, rupam pratirupo babhuva. So here he says, even though it is one, even though the air element is one, but when it enters into me, it is different air. The pranas, when you breathe, each person, every animal, every plant they are taking, it is different. So it is supporting all the forms, it is giving life to all the forms at a breath level. But because it has gone into various forms to give them vitality and energy, it has not become two. It is continuing to be the one air, continuing to be the one element. And that air, it is not only inside every being, every form, it is also outside every form. When it is inside, we call it pranapan, vyanudan, saman, and many other names are there. But outside, we just call it air. That air, when it enters, then it is given these 5 names. So it is inside also, outside also. That fire element was inside also, outside also. Here also, the air element is inside also, outside also. वायुर्यथैक इत्यादि प्राणात्मना देहेषु अनुप्रविष्टः रूपं रूपं प्रतिरूपो बभूव एतद् आदि समानम्. Just as the air element is entering into everything and supporting it from outside, exactly the same way the Atma also has entered into every shape and form, is immanent in every shape and form, and also supporting it from outside, or is also outside it. It's inside it and outside it. You are seeing inside and outside only because our attention is on the skin, on the skin. We call the space inside the house and the space outside the house as 2 different spaces because our attention is on the walls. You remove the wall, it's only one space. How do you remove the one wall? Commit suicide? No. Then how become body disidentified? This is happening to you every night at go to sleep. Become disidentified consciously. Contemplate on these verses and come to be the all-pervasive Atma. And in this way, this particular verse is very similar to the previous one. Now one more example is taken. एकस्य सर्वात्मत्वे संसार दुःखित्वं परस्यैव तद् इति प्राप्तमत इदमुच्यते. So even though that one principle, what is that one principle? The all-pervading principle. What is that all-pervading principle? The self. It is pervading the 5 elements also, it's pervading the whole universe also. 5 elements alone are forming the universe in that sense. Inside also, outside also. So when it is pervading everything, then we can say that even the miseries that are coming in our life are also pervaded by that infinite self. Because without that self, joys and miseries also cannot express. In the joy also he is, in the miseries also he is. Because he is one without a second and he is all pervasive. We just said it is inside and outside. If fire element can be inside outside, air element can be inside outside, subtler than the fire and air is space, space is also inside and outside, subtler than space is the self, the conscious self. It is also inside and outside. In fact, it is one without a second. So it will not be wrong to say that every experience in the world is pervaded by the self. Without the self, no experience can happen. If without this, where is experience happening to you? Where is the experience experienced? In the mind. The experience is experienced in the mind. And mind is there only because life is there. And life is an expression of that self. Or you can just say the Atma. So Atma alone, the consciousness, again I keep repeating this many times. Consciousness, the Atma, the Satchidanand Swarup, as if with thoughts, is called as mind. Mind without thoughts is consciousness. Consciousness with thoughts is called mind. So is mind pervaded by consciousness? Yes. The five elements in this chapter, in this book, Katha Upanishad, only in the beginning it came. The five elements themselves appear as all the objects outside and the five senses here in the body. Simultaneously. So, if the eyes are here, the five elements, out of that five elements, what is the element for earth? Nose. How is the earth element expressing? As nose. Simultaneously, when the nose came into existence, the smell outside got created. So objects were created which can, everything has a smell. This paper also has a smell. You know, new books when you open, so nice smell paper. Water element, tongue. Immediately all the taste, all the food came about. Simultaneously. Fire, eyes, fire element, digestive fire. Immediately all the forms came for the eyes to see. Simultaneous. It's not that the first form came and then the eyes came. It's not that the first eyes came, then the forms came. Simultaneous. Then the air. The air that goes in, air that goes out, pranas, pran and apan. Immediately the total air came outside. The feeling. Where do you feel? Do you feel in your breath? The skin came about because of that is where the air element affects us. And with the space came the ears, and immediately at the same time the sound was created. So five elements created the five senses and the five instruments of knowledge, the corresponding objects to experience. But can the senses see the world by experience the stimuli by themselves? Can a dead person see the stimuli through his eyes? Can he taste the food with his tongue? What is making the senses come alive? What is that which is functioning through the senses? It's the mind. Mind alone has become the five senses. Mind alone has become the five elements. Which means mind must be pervading the five elements, mind must be pervading the five senses, mind must be pervading the stimuli for each corresponding senses. So mind is pervading everything. But in a dead person we don't see the mind. From where mind has come? Mind has come because of the life behind, or we can say if you want to use word intellect. Actually, intellect and mind are one only, but because there is I, therefore the mind is there. Intellect has come because of the life principle, chetana. Chetana has come because of the infinite reality, the Atma Tattva, the one without a second principle. In fact, it is that one without a second principle which is expressing as life in different objects. It is expressing as mind in some objects. In this laptop, there is no mind. But in you and me, there is a mind. So first, the Atma expresses as life, that life expresses as mind, the mind expresses, on one hand, it expresses as the five senses, and at the same time, it expresses as the stimuli for the five senses, the world. But because we have used all these words, it's not that many things have happened, it is the one alone which is expressing as many. So this Atma, this conscious principle, here it says, ekasya sarvatmatve sansara dukkhitvam parasyaiva taditi praptam idam uchyate. That even though there is joys and sorrows, it alone is pervading. But it is not that the Atma is becoming joyful and Atma is becoming sorrowful. If you take because Upanishad is shifting our attention to the Atma than being the individual. So what is the nature of this Atma? The nature of the Atma is, it is unattached to everything that is going on. Even though it is supporting the mind, it is supporting the thoughts, it is supporting the senses, it is supporting the world, it is supporting the five elements, space, air, fire, water, earth, inside and outside each one of them, but it is unattached to any one of them. And the example taken here is, सूर्यो यथा सर्वलोकस्य चक्षुः, सूर्यो यथा सर्वलोकस्य चक्षुः, न लिप्यते चाक्षुषैर्बाह्यदोषैः, न लिप्यते चाक्षुषैर्बाह्यदोषैः, एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा, एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा, न लिप्यते लोकदुःखेन बाह्यः, न लिप्यते लोकदुःखेन बाह्यः. Together, सूर्यो यथा सर्वलोकस्य चक्षुः, न लिप्यते चाक्षुषैर्बाह्यदोषैः, एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा, न लिप्यते लोकदुःखेन बाह्यः. Here example is taken, that the example of the sun is taken. Here the sun and moon, just like we have a right eye and a left eye, this is at the microcosmic level, at the individual level. When we look at the universal person, we are a individual, there is a total person. We call it God, call it Bhagwan, call it Ishwar, doesn't matter. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it was shown to Arjuna through the divine vision. So there it is taken, the sun is the right eye of the universe and moon is the left eye of the universe. And with those two eyes, they are continuously watching the whole universe. All idiots are going through waking dream, deep sleep. All people on the planet, some are happy, some are miserable, some are suicidal, some are depressed, some are excited, some are mad, some are very intelligent, some are critical, some are waking, some are dreaming, some are sleeping, some are obsessive, some have phobias, some have thought fixations, some are sattvic, some are rajasic, some are tamasic, some cannot live without drugs. Others cannot live without liquid spirituality. Yet there are saints and sages who are happy for nothing, for no reason. But the sun is unaffected by any one of them. But without sun, life as we know it on the earth cannot be possible. You see? If there is no sun, there is no life on earth. But is the sun affected by anything that is happening on the earth? The earth is in its orbit only because of the sun. If the sun is not there, there is no purpose for earth to keep going around the sun. Where will it go? So, in that manner, so just as the sun is not affected by the negativities that it is illuminating on the earth, similarly the Atma also is not affected by the good or the bad that is taking place in the mind, that is taking place in the world outside. We are talking about you and me. You are the Atma. Accept that you are the illuminator of all the experiences, but unaffected, unattached, unclutched from all the experiences. Emotions, convictions, everything you have to give up in the end. But till that time that you give, not that you give up, it should give you up. You move from gross to subtle, subtle to keep refining your mind. Upanishad is one way. Instead of watching TV, news, wars here and there, what are we doing right now? We are talking about a topic. We are also, there is sound here, there is communication going on here. On TV also communication is going on. That only disturbs your mind, seeing the misery around the world. Why? And we can't come to any answer. But when we come to Upanishad, you are the cause of everything. You are in and through everything. You are death also, you are life also. You are the muck also, you are the beautiful also. You are the miseries also, you are the joys also. Without you, they cannot express. Without me, these cannot express. But who am I? Not the one who is enslaved by these coming and goings of the various experiences. I am the untouched one. Recognize this position. And here the example is taken, that of the sun. The Atma is not disturbed by the contents, by the experiences. Atma doesn't become impure. Oh, but I have to purify the mind. You only said that we have to be sattvic. The mind has to become sattvic, not Atma. Atma is ever pure. You have imagined that you are the body, that you are the mind, that you are the breath. I cannot live without this body. I have to trim and I have to go on a fast. I have to do this. I have to put my eyebrows are becoming smaller. I have to put artificial eyebrows. Then I look beautiful. I have to put lipstick. Then I look beautiful. So where is our attention? On the body, on the senses, on the lips, on the hair, on the thoughts of the mind. When you give value to thoughts in the mind, they will affect you. One of the thoughts which is strong enough will come and grab you, and before you know, it has taken you for a ride. Does any object, any experience on the earth, can it take sun for a ride? Can the sun get enslaved by any experience on the earth? Anything that it is illuminating? Not possible. So is your story also. You are illuminating the waking experience. It comes, it stays, it goes. You are in your presence, in your light. The dream experience comes, stays and goes. And also the deep sleep experience. Absence comes and goes. You are unaffected. Catch this. From childhood till today, you have ever remained unaffected, only imagining. Only imagining. Poor me. The boss he made me redundant. Poor me. That fellow spoke to me in this manner. They don't have any manners or what? Is this the way they speak to a person? Am I not a human being? Do I look like a dog? You yourself are calling yourself dog. What can other person do? All this drama, all this is because of having created attachment where there is no attachment. How there is no attachment? Just as sun has no attachment to what it is illuminating. Yet it illuminates everything. We gave you previous examples also. Space is accommodating everything, but it has got no attachment. In the space, so many galaxies are coming and going. Space doesn't say, oh mind, I'm feeling ticklish. So many galaxies are bursting. No. The air doesn't get affected. If it is in a particular environment where there is stink, the air will stink. When it passes through that area and goes to a garden, there the environment is giving you rose fragrance. The air will take the fragrance there will be rosy. Then it moves on further because air is continuously moving. It moves on further. There is no smell there. It remains neutral. So nothing gets attached to this air. Similarly, the fire element also. It does not get attached to any shape and form through which it is immanent and expressing, or it is giving shape. It is an independent. It is inside also, outside also. So also water. Water is inside every wave and outside every wave. But itself is independent, free, swatantra. It does not come under the clutches of the wave. So also the earth, you can dig the earth out and make as many pots and pans you want to make, cups and saucers. But eventually everything will go back to earth only. It will balance itself out. Mud is unaffected. Catch yourself that you are the unaffected principle, you are the uninfluenced principle, you are the unenslaved principle, you are the independent, ever free, illuminating all the experiences but unaffected by any of the experience. What are your experiences? Waking, dream, deep sleep. These are your three planes of existence. हो गया टाइम है. We'll see the bhashya next time because it's long one. We'll conclude here. Enough for you to contemplate. So you have to contemplate on what? The first one was? What was the first one? Fire. Second was through the verses, according to the verses. Fire, then air, the last line of the air was space, and then now the sun. In other words, you are here only two examples of fire and air and sun is taken. It means in this creation no attachment is ever possible, not of any element, but also not of spirit and matter. Spirit cannot get attached to matter. Nothing can get attached to anything in this creation. Observe. Everything is changing in this creation, everything is changing. And when our attention is on the changing, on the matter, on the form, on the experience, an imaginary sensation is created. I cannot live without you. You are my soulmate. I cannot live without. I don't like beetroot, for example. Don't worry, example. I don't like beetroot. I like only banana. I like and I dislike. Arey, bekoof, stupid fellow. Whatever comes, eat quietly. We get lost in it. Can be that it doesn't suit someone, but to react to it, to demand it, to be disturbed by it, that is not wisdom. Wisdom is when we remain the undisturbed principle. That is wisdom. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sit quietly for a moment. Hari Om.